The Taxi Driver's Daughter, episode continuation. If you haven't watched the first episode yet, head over to our channel and catch up now. You don't want to miss how it all began. Now, without further delay, let's dive back into the story. Every fiber of Zara's being screamed at her to walk away. She should have. But then she thought about her father, the failing business, the weight of responsibility crushing her. She had no choice. So she made the hardest decision of her life. "Fine," she said through gritted teeth. Kenito smiled. That infuriating, arrogant smile, like he had already won. "Perfect," he said smoothly. "See you at 8 a.m. Sharp. Don't be late, taxi girl." Zara hated him, but she was in, and she was about to find out just how dangerous his world really was. The next morning, Zara arrived at Royal Rides International at exactly 7:59 a.m., not a second late. She stepped out of the taxi, adjusting the collar of her plain black polo. The towering glass skyscraper in front of her gleamed in the morning sun, a monument of wealth and power. A world she didn't belong to. But she wasn't here to belong. She was here to survive. Taking a deep breath, she marched toward the entrance, her footsteps firm, steady, unshaken. If Kenito wanted a game, she was ready to play. The moment she stepped inside, Zara felt the stares. Men in polished suits, women in designer heels, all turning their heads as if her presence had contaminated their air. She ignored them. Dressed in her best-fitting jeans and a black polo shirt, she looked professional, but she refused to wear the stiff uniforms the company provided. She would drive Kenito around, but she wouldn't become one of them. She walked straight to the front desk, where a stunning receptionist, her nails painted in perfect gold tips, barely spared her a glance. "Can I help you?" the woman asked, her tone dripping with boredom. Zara lifted her chin. "I'm here for Kenito Obiagu." The receptionist raised an eyebrow. Then slowly she scanned Zara's worn-out jeans, simple polo, and no-nonsense expression. "And you are?" "Zara Okoye," she said, "his new driver." For a split second, something flashed across the woman's face. Shock, confusion, maybe even amusement. Then she laughed, a quiet, dismissive chuckle. "Oh, you're the one." Before Zara could respond, the elevator doors slid open, and out stepped Kenito, looking as untouchable as ever. A tailored navy blue suit, an expensive watch that probably cost more than her father's entire taxi fleet, and that infuriating smirk like the world was his to command. His eyes locked onto hers. "You're early," he said, his voice smooth, teasing. Zara crossed her arms. "Disappointed?" Kenito chuckled. "Not yet." Then he nodded toward the elevator. "Come on, taxi girl. Let's see if you can keep up." Zara didn't move immediately. Because in that moment, standing in the heart of his empire, she felt it. The shift. The trap. The point of no return. She wasn't just a driver anymore. She was stepping into a world where one wrong move could destroy her. And for the first time, she wondered, had she made a mistake? The elevator ride with Kenito was silent, but Zara could feel his presence like a weight in the small space. His confidence was unshaken, his stance casual, as if he was in complete control of everything, including her. She refused to let him get inside her head. The doors slid open, and she followed him through the sleek, glass-walled corridors of Royal Rides International. Employees glanced their way, whispering. Some stared at Kenito with admiration, others at her with confusion or amusement, like she was a joke. Zara kept her head high. She wasn't here to impress these people. She was here to survive, and maybe, just maybe, to win. The moment she stepped into the underground parking lot, she spotted the car waiting for her, a sleek black Range Rover. Shiny, powerful, the kind of car meant for men like him. Through the tinted windows, she could already see Kaneto inside, lounging like a king in his throne, phone in hand, completely unbothered. He didn't even glance at her as she slid into the driver's seat. The scent of his expensive cologne filled the car, a mix of power and arrogance. "Right on time," he murmured, still looking at his phone. His voice was smooth, almost impressed. Zara smirked. Disappointed? His lips twitched. Not yet. Zara rolled her eyes and revved the engine harder than necessary, letting the sound echo through the parking lot. "Where to, boss?" she asked, voice dripping with sarcasm. Kaneto finally looked up, his dark eyes locking onto hers through the mirror. That same smirk, that same cocky amusement. "Take me to the governor's lounge in Ikoyi." Zara's stomach twisted. The governor's lounge, the playground of Lagos's elite, a place where men like Kaneto made deals over whiskey and million-dollar handshakes. She had no business being anywhere near that world, and yet here she was, driving straight into it. Instead, she sped out of the parking lot, making sure to take a few sharp turns just to rattle him. 20 minutes into the drive, Kaneto finally looked up from his phone. "You drive like a madwoman," Zara smirked. "And yet, you're still alive."
"Good. Wouldn't want your billionaire bones getting too shaken up."
You know, I did some research on you.
"And?
Mechanical engineering, first class. Impressive."
You stalking me now?"
Nah, nothing like that. Just curious. I mean, someone that smart could be designing cars, running their own company, doing something bigger. So why this?
Because life happened. Plus, not everyone gets to choose their path.
Life. The go-to excuse everyone loves to use.
Not everyone's daddy hands them $1 billion company like a birthday gift.
Ouch, that almost sounded personal. Smirks. What's the matter? Jealous?
Nope. Disgusted.
Same thing, taxi girl.
Arrogant bastard.
Louder next time. I think the chauffeur up front missed it.
Kaneto's smirk widened, but there was something in his eyes, something unreadable. "Interesting," he murmured. Zara clenched her jaw and focused on the road. She wasn't here to impress him. She was here to find out his weaknesses. They reached the governor's lounge, and Zara parked smoothly. Before Kaneto stepped out, she caught sight of a black SUV with tinted windows parked across the street. Something about it felt wrong. Kaneto hadn't noticed. He was adjusting his Rolex, looking effortlessly rich and untouchable. But Zara had grown up in the streets. She knew when she was being watched. "Kaneto," she said cautiously, eyes on the SUV. "Are you expecting company?" He frowned. "Number why?" She nodded toward the car. "That SUV has been parked there since we arrived. It hasn't moved." Kaneto's expression darkened. For the first time, Zara saw something flicker across his face. Not arrogance, not amusement, something dangerously close to fear. Without a word, he pulled out his phone and typed something quickly. Then he turned to her, his voice lower. "Stay in the car. Keep the engine running." Zara's heartbeat picked up. "Why? What's going on?" Kaneto didn't answer. He opened the door and stepped out, adjusting his suit jacket as if nothing was wrong. But Zara wasn't fooled. Something was wrong. And if Kaneto Obiagu, billionaire, untouchable Prince of Lagos, was nervous, that meant she should be too. Kaneto disappeared into the lounge, leaving Zara alone in the car. She kept her eyes on the black SUV. Then, without warning, the passenger door opened. Zara's breath hitched. A man slid into the seat beside her, smooth, calm, and terrifyingly familiar. Obinna Obiagu, Kaineto's older half-brother, the one who had been exiled from the family for reasons no one dared to speak about. He was taller, colder, and deadlier than Kaineto. His suit was sharp, but his smile was sharper. Zara's instincts screamed danger. Relax, little driver, Obina said smoothly, adjusting his gold cufflinks. I just want to talk. Zara's hand stayed on the wheel, her pulse racing. If you wanted to talk, you wouldn't be sneaking into my car, Obina chuckled. Smart girl. I can see why Kenito hired you. He studied her for a moment, then said, You should leave while you still can. Zara frowned. Leave? Working for Kenito, he said, voice dropping. It's a dangerous game, and you're just a pawn. Zara's blood ran cold. What are you talking about? Obina leaned closer, his voice like silk. Do you know how many people want my little brother dead? Her stomach flipped. Obina smiled. Be careful, Zara Okoye. Some roads are better left untraveled. Then, as quickly as he appeared, he was gone. Zara sat frozen, the weight of his words pressing on her chest. Something was very, very wrong in the Obiagu family, and she had just stepped into the middle of it. Zara's hands shook slightly as she gripped the steering wheel, trying to calm the storm inside her. Obina's words wouldn't leave her head. Do you know how many people want my little brother dead? Her instinct screamed at her to get out, to walk away before she got pulled into whatever dark family war Kenito was tangled in. But she couldn't. Because if Kenito's family fell, royal rides would fall too. And that was the only way to save her father's business. So she stayed, even as she felt the fire getting closer. Kenito returned 20 minutes later, his suit perfectly crisp. But something in his posture was tense, like a man walking out of a battlefield, pretending he hadn't been shot. He slid into the back seat and exhaled heavily. Drive. Zara hesitated. Where to? Just drive. She obeyed, pulling away from the club. For the next 5 minutes, neither of them spoke. The silence felt heavy. Finally, Zara glanced at him through the rearview mirror. Are you going to tell me what's going on? Kenito's jaw tightened. Nothing you need to worry about. Zara bristled. Funny, because your brother just got into this car and warned me to run. Kenito's entire body stiffened. Slowly, his eyes lifted to meet hers in the mirror. Obina spoke to you? Zara nodded. Said I was just a pawn in whatever twisted game you're playing. Kenito let out a bitter laugh. Sounds like him. Zara clenched her jaw. You think this is funny? No, his voice dropped. I think it's dangerous. Zara swallowed hard. Why does your brother hate you? Kenito looked out the window, avoiding her gaze. Because he thinks I stole something from him, he said finally. And he wants it back. Zara frowned. What did you steal? Kenito's eyes darkened. Everything. Zara didn't press him further, but the air between them remained thick with unspoken truths. By the time she pulled into the company parking lot, Kenito had already buried himself in his phone, ignoring her completely. Fine. She wasn't here to be his confidant. She was here to take down his empire from the inside. But as she stepped out of the car and saw a sleek black Mercedes parked nearby, a bad feeling crept up her spine. A man in a grey suit stood leaning against the car, arms folded, watching them closely. Zara didn't know him, but Kenito did, because the moment he saw the man, his expression turned to ice. What now? Zara muttered. Kenito sighed. That is our biggest investor. Zara frowned. And that's a bad thing? Kenito looked at her, his eyes unreadable. That's a very bad thing. As they approached the Mercedes, the man stepped forward, offering Kenito a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Kenito Obiago, he greeted smoothly. I was beginning to think you were avoiding me. Kenito forced a smirk. Now why would I do that, Mr. Kalu? Zara stayed silent, observing the way Kalu's gaze flicked to her, studying her with mild curiosity. And who is this? Kalu asked. My driver, Kenito said shortly. Kalu raised an eyebrow. Is that all she is? Zara's stomach twisted. She didn't like the way Kalu spoke, like he knew something she didn't. Before she could respond, Kalu turned back to Kaneto, his smile fading. We need to talk, in private. Kaneto nodded toward the building. Let's go to my office. Kalu chuckled. No, here. Kaneto hesitated, and that was all Zara needed to know. Something was very, very wrong. Zara stepped back, pretending not to listen, but she heard everything. I hear rumors, Kaneto, Kalu said. Dangerous ones. Kaneto's expression remained blank. Rumors are cheap, but when money is involved, Kalu smirked. Rumors become weapons. Zara's blood ran cold. Kalu continued, your brother is making moves, and I don't like chaos in my investments. Kaneto's jaw clenched. Obina has nothing to do with royal rides. Kalu tilted his head. Are you sure? Because he's telling a different story. Silence. Then Kalu's voice lowered. You have 1 week to prove to me that your company is still under your control. Kaneto didn't respond. Kalu stepped back, smiling like they had just sealed a deal with the devil. Don't disappoint me, he said. Then he got into his car and drove off. Zara didn't say a word as Kaneto ran a frustrated hand through his hair, tension radiating from him. But she had heard enough. He was losing control. His company was at risk. And now, his brother was coming for everything. For the first time, Zara wondered if she had underestimated the danger she had walked into. Because this wasn't just a war between taxis and billionaires. This was a war between brothers, and she was right in the middle of it. Zara had seen danger before. She had grown up in it, on the chaotic streets of Lagos, where you learn to survive by being smart, fast, and fearless. But this was something else entirely. This was rich people's war, a battle between brothers, billionaires, and betrayal. And she had somehow become part of it, a pawn or a target. She was about to find out. That evening, after Kalu's ominous threat, Zara returned to her father's house, feeling uneasy. Baba Okoye was outside, fixing the taxi's worn-out engine, humming an old Igbo song under his breath. Zara watched him for a moment, her heart aching. Her father didn't know how deep she was in. He didn't know that the company responsible for their suffering was now her battlefield. She turned away, heading toward the door. Bang! A loud crash from the street made her spin around. Her heart stopped. The taxi's windshield was shattered. A brick lay on the hood, surrounded by shards of glass. Baba Okoye dropped his wrench in shock. Chineke, what is this? Zara's blood ran cold. She rushed forward, grabbing the brick. Something was tied to it. A note. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the paper. In bold red letters, it read, Stay away from Kaneto Obiagu. Next time, it won't be a warning. Zara's breath came in short, sharp gasps. Baba Okoye looked at her, fear in his eyes. Zara, what is going on? Zara clenched her fists. She had stepped into a war, and now the war was stepping into her life. The next morning, Zara stormed into Royal Ride's headquarters, her fury barely contained. She didn't care about the security guards eyeing her suspiciously. She didn't care about the posh executives staring at her like she didn't belong. All she cared about was him. She shoved open Kaneto's office door. He was sitting at his desk, sleeves rolled up, looking like he hadn't slept. His eyes lifted lazily. Zara, he said smoothly, to what do I owe the pleasure? Zara threw the note onto his desk. Kaneto's smirk vanished. His eyes darkened as he read the message. Then he lifted his gaze to hers. Where did you get this? Someone threw a brick through my father's taxi, she snapped. Because of you. His entire body tensed. Zara wasn't done. I told you, she continued, voice shaking with anger. I took this job to survive, not to get killed. Kaneto leaned forward, his jaw tight. "I never meant to put you in danger." "Well, congratulations," she spat. "You did." For a moment there was silence. Then Kaneto picked up his phone. "I'll handle this." Zara crossed her arms. "Oh, just like you're handling your brother, your company, and the investors who want you out?" Kaneto's eyes flashed. "Be careful, Zara." She stepped closer, her voice low and sharp. "No, you be careful, Kaneto, because if I find out you knew about this, if you had anything to do with it, I swear I will destroy you before you destroy me." Something changed in his eyes, something dangerous, something that made Zara's heartbeat quicken. Then, before she could react, Kaneto stood and took a step toward her, too close, too intense, his scent, his presence, his heat. Zara's breath caught, but she refused to move, refused to back down. Kaneto studied her face, then whispered, "You're not scared of me." Zara's pulse pounded. "No," she murmured, "I'm not." Their eyes locked, fire meeting fire. Then, just as quickly, Zara stepped back. Kaneto smirked, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "Good," he said softly, "because things are about to get worse." That night, Zara barely slept. She kept replaying everything. The attack, the warning, Kaneto's words. Her gut told her this wasn't random. Someone wanted Kaneto out, and whoever it was, they saw her as a weakness. She hated that. She wouldn't be anyone's weakness. She wouldn't be a pawn. So she made a decision. She was going to find out who sent that message. She was going to uncover every secret Kaneto was hiding. And then she was going to burn down everything that tried to break her. Zara knew one thing for sure. Whoever threw that brick wanted her scared. They wanted her to run, but they didn't know who they were dealing with. Instead of running, she did the opposite. She decided to dig deeper. If Kaneto wouldn't give her the full truth, she would find it herself. And when she did, she would use it to end this war once and for all. The next day, Zara waited until Kaneto was distracted before slipping into the company's restricted archives. She had noticed something the day before, a sealed folder on his desk marked Confidential, Obiagu Investments. She didn't know exactly what she was looking for, but she knew this: Kaneto's empire was built on secrets, and somewhere in those pages, she would find out why people wanted him gone. She scanned through contracts, financial records, and private emails. And then she found it, a document with Obina's name on it, and at the top, stamped in bold red letters, Terminated Partnership, Obiagu Brothers. Zara's heart pounded. Obina hadn't been exiled. He had been betrayed by Kaneto. Before Zara could process what she had just read, she heard footsteps approaching. She quickly slammed the file shut and turned, only to find herself face to face with Obina. Her stomach dropped. He leaned against the doorway, watching her. "Curious girl," he murmured. Zara swallowed hard. "What do you want?" Obina stepped forward, his presence unnervingly calm. "I want the same thing you do," he said. "The truth." Zara frowned. "What truth?" Obina tilted his head. "That my dear brother has been lying to you, that he's not the hero you think he is." Zara folded her arms. "I never said he was a hero." Obina smirked. "Then why are you still here?" Zara hesitated. She didn't know anymore. Obina leaned closer. "Let me make this simple, taxi girl. If you want to survive, you need to choose a side." She held her breath. And then, just before walking away, Obina dropped a USB drive onto the desk. "Listen to it," he said. "Then decide if Kaneto is really worth saving." Then he was gone, and Zara was left with a choice. That night, alone in her small room, Zara plugged the USB drive into her laptop. A recording played. and what she heard shattered everything. It was Keneto's voice. Obinna will never run this company, not while I'm alive. I'll make sure he loses everything. He was never supposed to find out. Zara's blood ran cold. Keneto had betrayed his own brother, and now she understood. Obinna wasn't just after revenge, he was after justice. The next morning, Zara confronted Keneto head-on. She stormed into his office, USB drive in hand. He looked up, startled. "Zara?" She slammed the USB on his desk. "Explain this." Keneto's face darkened as he listened to the recording. When it ended, silence stretched between them. Then Zara spoke, her voice cold. "You lied to me." Keneto exhaled, rubbing his face. "It's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is." Keneto hesitated, and that hesitation was her answer. Zara shook her head. "I thought you were different. Zara, please." But she was already walking away, and this time she wasn't looking back. Zara met with Obinna. "I'm in," she said simply. Obinna smirked. "Good girl." But Zara wasn't doing this for him. She was doing it for herself, for her father, for every taxi driver who had been pushed off the road by royal rides. It was time to end the Obiago Empire, and she would be the one to set it on fire. She spent the next few weeks working from the inside, feeding Obinna critical information, patient, precise, relentless. Then came the final blow. A leaked report, bribery, tax fraud, illegal deals. The media erupted. Keneto was removed from his position. Royal rides collapsed. The empire fell. And Zara, she won. Months later, she stood in front of her own fleet of taxis. Her father's business, rebuilt from the ashes. But this time, she was in control. No more billionaires. No more betrayals. Just freedom. Then, one evening, a familiar black Range Rover pulled up beside her. She didn't need to look to know who it was. Keneto, the man she had destroyed, the man who had once underestimated her. He stepped out, his suit a little less perfect, his confidence a little more fragile. But his eyes, they still held the same fire. "You got what you wanted," he said softly. Zara met his gaze, "and you lost everything." Keneto exhaled, a small, bitter chuckle escaping his lips. "Not everything." A beat of silence. Then, his voice lower this time, almost vulnerable. "Do you regret it?" Zara hesitated. Did she? Maybe. Maybe not. Her fingers grazed the smooth leather of her taxi seat, the weight of her choices settling over her. Finally, she looked up. "No." Her voice didn't waver. Keneto's lips parted, as if he had been expecting a different answer. Then, after a long moment, he gave a slow nod. And just like that, he got back into his car and drove away, leaving Zara to her empire, leaving the past behind, and maybe, just maybe, leaving a future where their paths would cross again. Thank you for watching and joining us on this incredible journey. Be sure to explore more of our stories on the channel or click on the next video YouTube recommends. If this story touched your heart, please like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more captivating African tales. Don't forget to tap the notification bell to stay connected to the wisdom and beauty of these stories. Until next time, stay blessed and keep shining.